Let me tell you about a mistake I watch really smart founders make. And I'm not throwing shade because I've made a version of it myself. More than once, in fact, if I'm being honest. It's an easy trap to fall into, and it's an expensive one. You've got a community, and it's quiet. Not dead, just quiet. People joined, they're lurking, and the engagement you were hoping for, well, it just never really showed up. So you go looking for a fix. And right now, the fix everyone reaches for is automation. You set up some prompts, you schedule a few questions, you get something posting on a steady rhythm so the place at least looks alive. And for about 2 weeks, it kind of works. There's more on the page. Then you look a little closer and realize most of that activity is you, or it's the system talking into a room where nobody is really answering back. You didn't fix the quiet. You just got more efficient at being ignored. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. AI didn't fail you there. It did exactly what you asked it to do. It just couldn't fix the real problem because the real problem was never the thing you pointed it at. That's the whole episode today. There's a situation where you can use AI perfectly, draw every line exactly where I told you last week, and it still won't save your community. And it's worth understanding why before you spend 3 months or maybe even more automating your way deeper into the hole. So let's get into it. But first, hi, friends. Welcome back to Community at Heart. I'm Rachel Starr, a Circle expert and the founder of the Co-Creator Society. And this is the show where we talk about building community-led businesses that scale without the burnout, the hustle, or the doing everything alone of it all. If you're new here, I'm really glad you found us. So last week, we drew the line. What's safe to hand to AI and what you protect. And I left you with a bit of a cliffhanger that there's a version of this where you draw that line perfectly and AI still doesn't fix a thing. This is that episode. And I'll be honest with you, it's a little uncomfortable because it points back to us instead of at the tool. Here's the idea I need you to really take in because everything today sits on top of it. AI doesn't make anything out of nothing. It works with what's already there. It takes whatever you've already built and it makes more of it faster. So if you've built something solid, AI is incredible. It takes a community that already works and makes it work even better, with a lot less of you grinding to keep it alive. But if what you've built underneath is shaky, AI doesn't fix the shaky. It just runs it faster and at a bigger scale. You don't end up with a better community. You end up with the same problems happening more often in less time. That's the uncomfortable truth. AI is not a foundation. It's not the thing that makes a community work in the first place. It's something you add on top of a community that's already working. And a lot of people are reaching for it in the exact moment when their foundation is the actual problem. Let me make that real with two communities because I've watched both up close. The first one already had people showing up, talking to each other, a clear reason they kept coming back. That founder brings in AI to handle the tracking and the prep. And within a month, she's got hours back, and her members feel more seen than they ever have. Now, take the same tool over to the second community. People joined months ago, mostly went quiet, and nobody totally sure what the place is even for. That founder brings in AI to boost engagement, and 3 months later, she's exhausted. She's got a beautifully automated ghost town, and she's lying awake wondering what she's doing wrong. She's not doing anything wrong with the tool. The tool was never the thing that was going to save her. And I know what some of you are thinking because I thought it too. You look at the big, busy communities, the ones running automations everywhere, and you think, well, they're automating everything and it's working fine for them. Sure, but you're seeing the end of the story, not the order it got built in. They got the foundation right first, back when they were small and quiet, and it was all unglamorous. And then they layered the tools on top of something that's already working. You're not seeing the months of design work underneath. You're seeing the shiny part on top. Do not copy the shiny part and skip the hard work, friends. So Let's talk about what I actually mean by the foundation, because it's easy to nod along and still not be sure what we're pointing at. I'm not talking about your branding. I'm not talking about your tech setup or which platform you're on or how neatly your spaces are organized. Those things matter, but they're not this. When I say design, I mean a few pretty human things. The first one is, do people actually know what this community is for? Could a member tell you in one sentence why this place exists and what they're doing here? Not your mission statement, their version of it. I've asked members of communities this and watched them go quiet because they honestly just couldn't tell me, even inside my own. They joined on a feeling and never got a clear answer. If the reason is fuzzy in their heads, that's a design problem. And no amount of automation fixes a fuzzy reason to exist. It just sends more reminders about a thing nobody can quite name. The second one is there's a reason to come back, not a reason you hope they feel, a real one. Something that happens in there on some kind of rhythm that makes showing up worth it. Most quiet communities are quiet because there's nothing actually pulling people back. They join for bursts of motivation, got it, and then there was never a second reason to return. They didn't leave because they were upset. They drifted because nothing ever asked them to stay. The third one is when someone new shows up, is there somewhere for them to go? A path, a clear first step, and then a second one? Or do they walk in, look around at a wall of stuff that doesn't mean anything to them yet, and quietly drift because they have no idea what they're supposed to do in there? That drift usually happens in the first week, and most founders never even see it happen. And the fourth one is, are people actually connecting with each other? Or does everything run through you? Because a community where every single interaction goes from you to a member, and then you to a member, and then you to a member is not really a community yet. It's an audience in a nicer container. The whole thing only comes alive when members start talking to each other, when they answer each other's questions and celebrate each other's wins. And that is something you have to build on purpose. It almost never just happens on its own. Those four things are the foundation. And here's why I'm spending real time on them in an AI episode. Every single one of them is a human decision that AI cannot make for you. It can support all of them, though. Once they exist, it cannot invent a single one of them. And I want to say something kind here, because I don't think people skip this work because they're lazy or because they don't get it. I think they skip it because foundation work is hard, slow, vulnerable. Getting clear on why your community exists means admitting you might not actually be sure. Building a rhythm means committing to showing up on the weeks you feel like it and the weeks you don't. Designing for member connection means risking that you might throw a question out there and hear nothing back. That stuff's scary. Setting up an automation, well, that's not. It's clean, it's fun, if you're me, and it feels like momentum. And it lets you feel productive without sitting in any of the uncomfortable questions. So we reach for the tool. I've done it, but the tool is the easy thing precisely because it lets you avoid the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is the thing that was actually going to fix it. So watch what actually happens when you skip the foundation and go straight to automating. You've got a community with no clear reason to come back, and you add automated engagement prompts. Now you've got a steady stream of questions going out to people who don't have a reason to answer them. All the automation does is make the silence more obvious. Every prompt that goes out and gets nothing back just makes the empty room a little louder. You didn't add life, you added proof. Or you speed up your onboarding. You build the smooth, automated welcome that fires the second someone joins. It feels great, except your community, well, it still doesn't have a clear path once they're inside. So now they're effectively welcoming people into confusion. They get a lovely hello, and then they hit the exact same wall everyone else hits, just sooner. Or you use one of the workflows I actually love, where you ask AI to surface who's gone quiet so you can reach back out. Great tool. But if your whole community is quiet because there's no real reason to be there, that list isn't 10 people. It's everyone. The tool is working perfectly. It's just handing you the same problem with names attached. And that's not a problem automation can solve. Or You lean on AI to crank out posts and fill the space, hoping that more volume will create momentum. But in a community with no clear purpose, more posts don't read as life, they read as noise. People can feel when a space is being filled instead of led, and the quiet ones just mute you. You didn't build engagement, you taught people to scroll past you. In every one of these, the AI did its job. It just took an unsolved design problem and ran it faster. And speed is the last thing you want on a problem you haven't actually solved. So before you automate one more thing, I want you to run your community through a few honest questions. And I mean honest. The kind you answer at your kitchen table, not the version you'd put in a launch email. Could your members say in one sentence what this community is for? Their words, not your mission statement. Is there a real reason to come back this week that isn't just you posting more? When someone new joins, is there an obvious next step or do they land and float? And are your members talking to each other or only to you? If you went down that list and felt good about your answers, that's wonderful. You've got a foundation. And AI is about to make your life so much easier. But if a couple of those landed funny, if you felt a little squeamish in your chest, that squeam is the most useful thing you're going to get all week, my friend, because it's telling you exactly where to spend your energy. And it's not on automations. Not yet, at least. And listen, I've sat in the squirm myself. It's not fun. The first time I really looked at one of my own communities, admitted the quiet was a design problem and not a I just need to post more problem. It stung. I'd been so busy doing that I hadn't stopped to ask whether I was doing the right things. But that was the most useful day I'd had in months because for the first time, I was working on the actual problem instead of the thing sitting next to it. So what do you do instead? You go work on the foundation first. And I know that is not the exciting answer. Setting up a clear little AI workflow feels like progress. Sitting down to get clear on why your community exists and what actually brings people back feels like going backwards. But one of those fixes the quiet and the other one just automates it. Get the reason to exist clear enough that a member could say it back to you in their own words, not your tagline, theirs. If you can't get a handful of members to describe this place roughly the same way, that's the very first thing to fix before anything else. Then build one reliable rhythm. Just one, a weekly thread, a monthly call, a single thing that happens on a schedule people can actually count on. Communities don't die from too little content. They die from no reason to come back. One dependable rhythm gives them that reason. Then make the path obvious for someone who just walked in the door. What's the first thing a new member should do? And then the second. If you can't answer that quickly and clearly, neither can they. And right now, they're standing in your community guessing. And start building real reasons for members to talk to each other, not just to you. Ask questions only they can answer. Introduce two people who should obviously know each other. Put members in front of each other on purpose, over and over, until one day it starts happening without you in the middle of it. And that day is the day you actually have a community. You don't need all of that to be perfect. You need it to be real. You need a foundation that is really holding weight. And then once it is, you bring in the tools. Because here's the good news, and there's a lot of it, my friend. When your design is solid, AI is everything I promised you in the last 2 episodes. It's a thing that lets you be more human because it pulls the busy work off your plate so you can actually show up for people. It's the thing you hand the invisible work to so your attention goes where it matters. All of that is true. It's just true second. It's what most of you add to a community that already works to make running it something you can actually sustain. And it feels completely different over on that side when the foundation is real. AI doesn't feel like you're propping something up that wants to fall over. It feels like you finally have room to breathe in your own community. The activity is real, the connections between people are real, and the tool is just quietly handling the parts that used to eat your evenings. That's the version everybody actually wants. It's just sitting on the other side of the work that people are trying to maybe skip. The order is the entire thing. Design first, then AI. Do it in that order, and AI is one of the best things that has ever happened to community builders. Do it backwards, and you've just bought yourself a faster, more expensive version of the same problem you already had. And If you put all three of these episodes together, you actually have the whole map. AI can make you more human, but only with the time it frees up for you. You have to draw a clear line about what stays yours and what you hand off. And underneath both of those, there has to be a community that's actually built to work in the first place. Get those three things right in that order, and you're not just using AI. You're running a real place with a real reason to exist and a tool that quietly makes the whole thing lighter to carry. So if you've been feeling behind because you haven't automated anything yet, let me take that off your shoulders right now. You're not behind. You might actually be ahead because you haven't papered over a design problem with a tool. You still get to build the thing properly and then let AI make it shine. So here's what I want you to take with you. Before you ask what you can automate, ask whether the thing you're about to automate actually works yet. If it does, go. Automate everything in sight the way we talked about the last 2 weeks. But if it doesn't, no tool is going to save you. Because what you've got is a design problem, and that one is yours to solve. The good news is it's completely solvable. You build this place once, you can build the part that's missing too. And honestly, that's a better spot to be in than it feels like. A design problem is hard, but it's in your control. You don't need permission. You don't need a bigger budget. You don't need the perfect tool to come out next quarter. You need to make a few clear decisions about what this place is and why people should care about being in it. That's been within your reach the whole time. If you want help with that, the actual designing of a community that holds up and then layering AI on top of it the right way, that's what we do inside Code Creator Society. It's where I help founders get the foundation right first and then use the tools in that order so you can stop guessing your way through your circle community. Come find us when you're ready. Take care of yourself this week, friends. I'll see you next week. Bye, friends.